Hi, I'm Chris Seaton, and this is a special episode of the Sit Down with Chris Seaton on video. It turns out that now, no more than 2 episodes into our broadcast of the Sit Down, we're already getting calls to get thrown off the air. What happened? Well, to discuss that, let's go back to that midday show, a a geek culture news and comedy show that's been on the air for a couple of years now at 103.9 LPFM WOZO in Knoxville, Tennessee. And yes, because it works for the Crybullies and the social justice warriors, we're going to use it here. We're going to call out and name and shame the people that decide to silence us. So when that midday show first started, it was a show devoted to comedy and comedy bits. And one of the things that I first uh, did to try and help the show was approach my producer, Aaron Campbell, with the headline segment, where we would talk about just news bits that I'd collected during the day or week or whatever and riff on them and make jokes and have fun with it. And it worked and it was good. And at the time I was able to do it because I didn't have that much going on in the way of business interests. Then I had to stop because business is business. And, it wasn't exactly a paying gig, didn't put food on the table. The show continued on without me. And then something really disturbing happened at the end of last year. Uh, they had a comedian in studio who said something off color. It was a remark that you really couldn't hear on the mics, but another one of the show's DJs, and we're going to talk about that in just a second, called up the show and said, "I really don't like what was just said. I'm coming down there and we're going to sort this out." Now, any rational human being would think that I'm coming down there to sort this out would mean I'm coming down there and we're going to talk about this. No, what happened was I'm coming down there to sort this out meant I'm bringing a friend, we're going to resort to physical violence, and we're going to use numerous F bombs with live mics running in a radio studio. Now, my producer then decided to, against my better wishes and my best thoughts, not file a police report. In fact, WOZO begged him to not file a police report over this incident. They asked him to submit to their mediation process with their conflict resolution team. And what happened as a result of that? Well, Aaron got apologized for being physically assaulted over a joke that he didn't even tell, that very few people, if any, could have even heard for a fleeting moment. And his show, that midday show, was suspended for the rest of the year. He was, in fact, silenced. Now, we're in 2017, and that midday show is running strong. The recordings are better than ever. The format's better than ever. If you haven't checked it out, go to any of the podcast formats of your choosing: iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn. You can find it all there. They're doing really, really well now. But Aaron, as one of the DJs, he pays for time blocks there. That's what he does. And that's what being a DJ entails, by the way, at WOZO. It's not like a corporate gig where you get to have a salary or something. You actually pay membership fees so that you can have time blocks to do with as you please. And he decided that out of 1 hour of those time blocks, one of the things he'd like to do would be to revive the news segments in a new show called The Sit Down with Chris Seaton. And I said, great, that's perfect. It's the best way possible to get back for what happened to that midday show. Let's do a conservative show. Let's make it irreverent. Let's make it mischievous. Let's make it fun. And let's do everything possible to make people laugh, piss people off, and make people think. Well, 2 episodes in, and I was informed last night that someone who works with WOZO named Benda was now suggesting that if the show is called The Sit Down with Chris Seaton, that made me a DJ, and I should now pay DJ fees. Well, newsflash to Benda, I'm not a DJ, and I don't plan on being a DJ. I don't plan on financially supporting your radio station, even though when anything that Show Productions puts on, it commands 40% more of the airtime share than what would normally happen. Aaron Campbell is the DJ. He is my producer. He has unfettered discretion to shut me down at any point in time. He has chosen to give me a voice. The fact that you cannot stand that voice only proves that you are not as tolerant or inclusive as you claim to be. Now, to the other members of WOZO who have suggested that we get thrown off the air, that the show format change, this is hilarious. One guy actually said, get this, you guys should go as far right as possible for one show just to really piss everybody off. I don't think he's heard a single second of what we've actually broadcasted so far. And once he hears what we put up today, happy Valentine's Day, it's my gift to all of you, our valued listeners, he might change his tone just a little bit more on that. So all this proves is that WOZO are a bunch of leftists, and they cannot tolerate any views other than their own, which are these supposed attitudes of inclusivity, tolerance, love, adoration. But the moment somebody says something that's a little bit irreverent, maybe something conservative, maybe something that doesn't immediately comport with their worldview, there's immediate calls for censorship. There's immediate calls for silence. And as we saw back in December with that midday show, there's calls for violence. So I'm going to close out this special video episode of the Sit Down with Chris Seaton with two messages. One is for WOZO's staff, so let's start there. First of all, Aaron Campbell is the DJ. He is the producer. I am talent. That's simple as that. The sit down will continue whether you like it or not. If you try to shut it down, there will be ramifications. And the fact that we have managed to anger you so much only proves that you are not the inclusive platform that you claim to be. A guy's paying out fees to make sure that his content gets broadcast on your platform, which frankly he doesn't need, but he's still doing it because he loves radio, and yet you can't stand the thought of a conservative speaker being on your station. Well, guess what? It's only going to get worse. We're only going to get more conservative. We're only going to get more irreverent. We're only going to get more outlandish. And we're going to get to that point. We're going to stay there because you got my attention by trying to say that we needed to be silenced. Now then, for our listeners, we love you. We really do. Thank you so much for being a part of the sit down and making this little idea into something that now 2 episodes in has so many people upset that they're ready to see it thrown off the air. If you really want to piss them off even more, if you really want to show them exactly what it's like to love the ideas of free speech, open ability to talk, free exchange in the marketplace of ideas, and the ability to say, think, be, and do as you please, do us a favor. Go to iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, rate, review, subscribe to the podcast, The Sit Down with Chris Seaton. That way we get the numbers up. It's the easiest thing you can do. Tell friends about us if you don't even want to do that. We also do have a Patreon account if you'd like to contribute a happy buck or two. We'll list that in the links right down there. And there's various rewards that you can have for becoming part of our Patreon family. And just continue to listen and enjoy because there's more to come. Until next time, I'm Chris Seaton, and this is The Sit Down with Chris Seaton. Take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.